our faculty-led program information session for this coming year, and we are very excited to feel like we're getting a little bit closer to what used to be the number of programs we had before this little thing called a pandemic. So we've got quite a few options for you guys, and it's nice to see some students here that I know you're interested in hearing a little bit more. You probably have the program that you're interested in already in mind, but maybe you can kind of get some ideas from each of us as we share the aspects of our program, because they're all quite different and might have different things that appeal to you. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to go through the faculty-led programs, starting with France, and then I believe it's India, then Brazil and Cuba, and then we'll end with Spain and Japan. But throughout the time, feel free to throw something in the chat if you have a question, or just raise your hand or unmute, and you can ask us questions as we go along. We're going to try and be brief and to the point. Okay, Lynn McNeil's here too, the co-leader on our Angers program. But we really want to be able to answer questions for you and, give you any information that you need as you're trying to figure this out for yourself. So without further ado, I will go ahead and start with our Angers Summer Business Program. And Lynn McNeil, who's my co-leader on this program, we can kind of both, I'll let you pop in and share what you'd like about the program as well. We'll just kind of go through the information here.
Sounds good.
Meredith?
Yeah.
Would you like me to be like the timekeeper on the 7-minute limit?
Yes, I would love that. Thank you. Just give us a little bit of a warning.
Maybe at 5. I'll try to
Okay,
get over.
at 5, give us a warning at 5. That's perfect. And Ray Gorin, who works with Marty and I know he's on this Zoom meeting too. He'll be helping me with checking out. There's Ray. Hello, Ray. He's going to help with managing the chat. So if I miss anything, because sometimes multitasking is not my best strong suit here. All right, so for the Angers Summer Business Program, we've got almost a month-long program in France, and I am quite partial to this program. And I believe it's not just because it's my program. I feel like there are aspects to it that are really stellar. And one of them is that you really do get to have an extended period of time living in another country, kind of a hybrid of our normal faculty-led program and a study abroad. Which you can kind of see on this slide. So you have that longer length of stay. You actually live in dorms when you're in Angers with our program. And you get a private room with a private bathroom and a little mini fridge. So you have your privacy, but you get to have that dorm experience in another country. The students that you will be in the dorms with, most of them are actually other exchange students or Erasmus students that are there. So you get to meet people from around the world as well there. You take classes with the students from the University of Angers, but they're actually taught in English by App State professors. One of those professors being Dr. Davison, who is here on this call, but we have a couple folks from marketing, Dr. Albinson, Dr. Das, and then we have Dr. Shinar as well, who will be teaching the courses for you in English. And then you get to really, when you're not in class, when you're not doing group activities, you get to experience what life is like living in Angers and have a lot of independence, really. We always make sure to give you a long weekend too, so you can have an opportunity to explore further within France or even in Europe sometimes, or just stick around Angers and enjoy the city. The other part that is really nice is you have the benefit of the faculty-led aspect. So we have excursions that we'll take you on, an orientation in Angers, a trip to Paris, and then other cultural programs that you'll do with students from App State. And then we'll have our pre-departure preparation in the spring. So we'll actually do coursework to prepare you for your time in Angers. You're going to learn a little bit of French. Lynn McNeil is actually a French lecturer in our languages, literatures, and cultures department. So you have an expert with language, and then we'll talk about history, politics, all sorts of aspects for your experience in France. So you go in with a richer background. These are the details here. This year is our first year that we have the International Human Resource Management Seminar abroad. So that's going to be a great opportunity for students from the management department to have a course that's counting towards their major. and take that while they're in France. We've had the marketing course for quite a while, and that course actually counts also for the experiential elective for anyone who's studying entrepreneurship. So that's another great course. And then the BUS course counts as a College of Business elective for anybody. And then for IB majors, any of these can count in the major. The cost of the program is $29.70, but it's very important with our program to know, because of this kind of hybrid aspect, you have everything here that's listed is covered, all your group activities, etc., all your cultural experiences there, but you have to budget for airfare separately. Most people fly into Paris, so there's a train to and from Angers from Paris, then summer tuition, and then it's probably about 19 days of meals that you need to make sure you budget for. But it's nice having that mini fridge, makes it easy to keep breakfast cheap. There's a place to cook at the dorms if you want to keep it cheap. Kebabs are a good option, cafeteria, or you can spend lots of money on really nice French food. So it's up to you. Anything to add, Lynn, so far, or just keep rocking?
No, I think you're doing great.
Okay. So what to expect? This is a little bit of what you'll see on the program. We've added, since the pandemic, we did have a virtual version of our program one time, and we enjoyed it so much, we've actually added aspects of that. So in the spring, when you're taking the classes with us, we're going to have some collaboration with the French students already starting in the spring, virtual collaboration. We don't know exactly what we'll do with this, but you may be having Zoom calls with a partner in Angers, or you might be doing a presentation for them. They'll do a presentation for us, but ways for you to connect. And then the orientation day
We are
trip.
at the 5-minute mark.
Oh boy, orientation day trip, Paris experience. All right, here we go. So here's a few pictures from our orientation. We take you to some of the sites around Angers. The chateau is kind of a central part of Angers. The city itself is built along a river. It's really beautiful, walkable, pedestrian friendly, lovely parks. These are some pictures from the sports day that Angers students organized, and every year they organize some activity to do with you. So it's a lot of fun, kind of bonding experience. Classrooms look kind of like this. So you can imagine your class periods. They're long classes, like 3-hour chunks usually, but you've got them kind of blocked together so you have a little more time for all of our fun weekend activities. You can see the campus here. And, this is what the building will look like that you'll be taking classes in. Cointreau Distillery. That Cointreau, I don't know if anyone's familiar with Cointreau, but it actually comes from Angers. It's a product of Angers. It's been there for 100 years. I don't know, maybe longer, can't remember. But we actually get a tour and learn more about their process, their marketing. So it's a lot of fun. There's Yosef having a great time. Downtime, there's wonderful restaurants in Angers, lots of time hanging out with the Angers students. Like I said, it's just a great city to be in. Paris, we do like a 3.5-day experience in Paris, and you get to see all of the key sites. It's the Louvre, Notre Dame, of course. A little different nowadays at Notre Dame. We do walking tours of some of the unique little areas of Paris. It's kind of off the tourist track, some of them. This is Sacré-Cœur. Of course, Eiffel Tower needs no introduction. And this is some of the things that students have said about the program. So really enjoying that length of stay. Are we done?
Not ending, you guys, but it is 7 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is a little bit of what.
Slide.
Wow, that's great.
And that's it. All right. So that was our whirlwind tour. I don't know if any questions were in the chat that I need to answer. Anyone has them now. We can take a few questions, then I'll turn it over because I know we want to make sure you guys get out of here on time. Well, if you have a question, feel free to pop it in the chat. We can always get to it at the end as well, or I can reach out to you. But why don't I go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Iyer and Dr. Dave, and they can share about their programming.
There's a question in the chat. Do you want to answer now?
Oh, yeah. So for Meredith, how many students from ASU usually go on this trip? Usually between 10 and 14, just kind of depends. So most of the programs are going to be somewhat similar in that number. And I realized I don't think I ever said who I was. I am Meredith Church Pipes, and Lynn McNeil is the co-leader of this program as well. Thanks for the question. Dr. Iyer, did you want to, and Dr. Dave, did you want to share your screen, or do you want me to click through the slides? We could do it either.
Can you click through the slides that maybe save time on the transition? I mean, like, you know.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Lakshmi Iyer. I'm currently the Interim Associate Dean for Graduate Programs and Research, but I'm also a faculty in the Computer Information Systems Department. And my co-lead is Dr. Dave. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Dinesh Dave, and I direct the Supply Chain Management Program in Department of Marketing and Supply Chain Management.
Okay, and the program that we are co-leading is the one to India, and this is going to be between spring and summer. It's from May 14 to 27, and the topic is on global supply chain, logistics, and analytics. So it's both undergrad and grad level at the undergrad. And by the way, there's the QR code. If you are interested, you can scan it and fill out the form. That's not a commitment to go on the trip, but that link also has a lot of videos related to the trip and a lot more information that you can get. So you can scan that QR code. So the credit you can get is for either, if you're an undergrad student, for SEM 4350. And as you know, there's an asterisk there. It says you can enroll in independent study if your prerequisite for 4350 is not met. Is there anything else you want to add to that, Dr. Dave?
Yes, those students who can take only junior level class, we can also work it out, and this class will also satisfy your one of the required classes in supply chain management courses, as well as satisfy the College of Business global requirement.
Right. And for if there are any graduate students in the audience, this is MBA 5020 international experience. It can be an elective for your MBA program, MSADA, or any graduate program actually. The program cost that's indicated there is $32.55. That includes everything. Typically, we fly out of Charlotte. We haven't, gotten any estimates for, next May. But hoping if it's in Charlotte, it's from the time you leave the airport and come back to the airport, everything is included. It's only the additional extra money that you want to take to buy souvenirs or other expenditures, that you would have to take extra money. But this includes boarding, lodging, side trips, and all that kind of stuff. Next slide, please. In fact, before I said next slide, the previous slide in the middle is the picture from our recent trip. If you can go back, that's the picture. And you'll notice that's mostly the faculty there, but we also have another picture of all of the students. This is our students as well as the faculty, some of the faculty from there, but we also have another picture of all the students from our host institution, which is Cristo Jayanti College, who also were participating in this program. Next slide, please. So this is, I don't know if you can see this very clearly, but this is kind of the schedule we have in place. Typically, when we arrive, we will spend a couple of days, 2-3 days in Bangalore, where at the host institution, where you will have some presentations from the faculty as well as company representatives. The students will be given a little case study, to work on during the time they spend there. All of the site trips information is also included in this tentative plan. And then when you get back, you'll finish up the project activities and make a presentation, and there'll be representatives from the companies that participate in that. I think I have pictures in the next few slides that kind of shows what some of the activities might be like. This is from one of the site trips. In each of the site trips, we try to include a visit to a national park. So this is at one of the parks, but the one we will be going to, there are some pictures that's coming up. Next slide. So on the arrival day, everything in India is very ceremonial. There's a very ceremonial welcome and reception. And I think Dr. Messner's, has participated in some of these things before. But these are pictures from our, from the airport, getting there, and they have a very formal opening ceremony. So we just hit the ground. The worst part of this entire program is the longest, the flight, journey, because you are, crossing several continents. But But we just get there that morning and we are ready to hit the ground, and the students have been absolutely awesome, kept up with all of the schedule, really tight schedule that we had. Next slide, please. So as I said, in the host institution, there'll be lectures given by the professors there. Dr. Dave and I will also have some lectures, but we try to record our lectures and give it to you in advance because you don't have to travel that far to hear from us. We're here, but we want you to maximize the time to hearing from the faculty and the students there. So the students and the faculty have been really awesome, working with our group. The students from KJC and our students really bond together, work on projects. They pretty much spend the entire day. I mean, until the evening we go out on, local trips, shopping, all that kind of stuff, and they come with us and we have a wonderful time. Dr. Dave, you want to add anything on that?
Yes, and also you will have opportunity to hear the company executives making presentation and manage the case discussion. So it's an outstanding opportunity from the professionals who are practicing in India, and many of the US organizations are operating in India. So you will have great opportunity to interact how the businesses are being conducted between here and there, and also exchange ideas and work in team.
And I'll just interject that we are beyond 6 minutes now.
So wow. Okay, next slide, please. So this is the tech park. As we know, Bangalore is the Silicon Valley of India. All of the big tech companies are there. So we will visit the tech park and the companies. And we had wonderful visits last time. So I'm sure we will have similar experiences in the coming time as well. Next slide. So as I said, the students will be presenting to the companies, and you'll see the panel of attendees there, company representatives. Last time we had Nabler and Wells Fargo and other companies. These are the sightseeing trips we will have. This is to Ooty. Coonoor is a hill station, and it's it's got really fun, lots of fun places to visit. The video, I mean, again, the form link I had before had the video things. There's a really interesting train trip that we will take from, climbing all the way through the mountains. I think it crosses about 23 bridges and 15 or 23 tunnels and 15 bridges or something like that. So you'll see it's a very, very scenic spot, and we will also cross some tea plantations and things like that. So next slide, please. We will be visiting Masanagudi, the wildlife sanctuary, where we'll have some safaris and potentially a elephant ride. We don't know all of the specific details, but we will be spending a night in the national park as well. Next. This is the fun time for students to go shopping. They play games, they learn about local sports, cricket, but you can see, the students having a really fabulous time. And some of these comments are from students in terms of what they learned. So next slide. Again, the connections they make, I think the students, that's the one thing that the feedback that we have received is that they really enjoyed the time. The students, actually, some of these students even came to the airport to see us off. We thought if you look out through the window, we might see them running, alongside the airplane with us. But that's the kind of bonding they had, and they continue to stay in touch through some of the social media, like WhatsApp group that we set up. Next slide, please. So before I conclude, I do want to let you know that Dr. Dave and I are planning to offer a parallel, like a hybrid or virtual option for any student that, if circumstances do not allow you to travel, there's that option as well. So when you fill the form, you'll see a couple of options that's listed, and I'll put the link to the form in the chat box. Thank you. If you have any questions, please enter that in the chat box as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, Dr. Mesner, can I turn it over to you and I'll click
Yes,
through?
will you play the role of the time enforcer for me?
Oh, all right, I'll try.
Conflict of interest here, so
I'll give it a try. All right.
So my name is Marty Mesner, and I'm doing a couple programs in this academic year, one to Brazil and one to Cuba. So when you think you're through with me, you're not. You're just halfway through. I have another program to talk about as well. I am the Associate Dean for Global and Civic Engagement here in the college. And I'm really just going to try to give you a taste, stay within my time frame as much as I can. And then I'm going to hang around a little bit after the presentations are over on Zoom, in case you want to chat with me about one of the programs for more details. So I happen to have been born and raised in Brazil, so I'm a Brazilian citizen as well as an American citizen, and I love going back to Brazil to show off my home country to students from the Walker College of Business. The map you see is a map of Brazil. It's most of Latin America. Brazil is about the same size as the US. The arrow downward takes us to the border of Paraguay, Argentina, and Brazil, and we're going to spend some time at Iguazu Falls. And then we're going to travel by air across Brazil to Rio, spend some time in Rio de Janeiro as well. Why don't we go to the next slide? This is Iguazu Falls. Boy, it's, now that I see them on screen, the resolution's not quite as good as I would like it to be. I'll have to fix that. The theme of the program to Brazil is renewable energy, non-carbon based energy production, non-fossil fuel production. So at Iguazu Falls, it's just downriver from the second largest hydroelectric dam in the world. And we'll take a tour and we'll talk about the pros and cons of hydroelectric power. Certainly it's renewable. The water keeps falling. The sun makes the water go up to clouds. It falls at a higher level and then it generates energy as it goes down. But there are trade-offs associated with that. And it's a very, very beautiful setting. Next slide. While we are at Iguazu Falls, we'll also do some side trips to Argentina and to Paraguay. So there are mines in Argentina that we'll visit. Next slide. Shopping in Paraguay. Then we'll go on to Rio. And Rio is a world-class tourist destination. It's an absolutely gorgeous place. We'll spend some days in Rio visiting the US consulate if they'll have us. And then going down the coast near Rio to the city of Angra dos Reis, where Brazil's only nuclear power plant is located. And we'll visit the nuclear power plant. We'll do some boat rides and other things. And the details of the program. Am I at 5 yet?
Oh, you got so much time. I thought
right.
you were moving on. I apologize.
No, I'll slow down then. That's great. We'll do, as I listen to these other programs, they're fantastic. You get to spend a month in Europe. You get to make lasting relationships with students at Cristo Gianti in Bangalore. The Brazil program is not really that way. We're going to be a group. We're going to travel around. We're going to see some sites. We'll do some touristy things, but we're not really going to connect very closely with the local students. We don't have a partner university in either of the destinations that we're going down to in Brazil. So you'll bond with other folks in your group, but it really is kind of almost an edu-tourism experience where you go, you see, you say, I've been there, you ponder what you've seen, but you don't necessarily develop these close ties with local folks. The dates are May 9th to May 21st. The cost is $38.50 plus summer tuition. So you'll have an extra tuition added to your expenses. And then whatever souvenirs and other things you want there will be at your expense. All the air travel is included. All the meals are included. All the hotels are included. So the $38.50 really is intended to be a fully covered experience for you, except for the stuff that you may decide you want to purchase on your own. Passports required, no visa required. So if you have your passport, you're pretty much good to go. Next.
Wonderful. You have 30 seconds left of your first 5 minutes and you're starting ahead of the game here.
Wow, I'll slow down. I'm sorry, this is very atypical of me. I usually can't be shut up, as Meredith knows from previous situations. All right, the second program that I am leading is a program to Cuba. Now, Cuba is a lot closer than Brazil. The program is a lot shorter than Brazil, but the cost of the program is going to be pretty much the same. Part of the reason is because getting to Cuba is a difficult process. as Meredith can attest, she's the one who kind of opened up Cuba to business students. And Cuba has been on the bad side of US politics for decades. The US has a trade embargo on Cuba. Americans, even though the US claims to be the land of the free, Americans are not allowed to travel to Cuba for tourism. You are allowed to travel to Cuba for an educational program, though. So that's how we are able to take students to Cuba to see a country that is pretty much off limits to the US in general. We're actually going to fly into Havana. We're going to spend most of our time in Havana, much of our time in Havana, as you can see in the upper left corner. And then we're going to go over further left to the city of Vinales. You can see it on the map as well, and we'll spend some time there. So in our short spring break program, all we're going to get to see is the western tip of Cuba. It's better than what most people get to see of Cuba, but it is not like you're going to be a Cuba expert by the time we get back. All right, next slide. Havana is an amazing city. I've been there maybe 5 times on various programs with students in all the instances. It's known for its old cars, its old architecture. It is an absolutely unique place among all the places that I've traveled with or without students. Next slide. Apart from the touristy stuff that we'll do, we're going to spend 3 days visiting the University of Havana and actually attending lectures by professors at the University of Havana. It's a world-class institution. We don't do much with them, though we do have an MOU. But the rest of the world that doesn't have an embargo and travel prohibitions to Cuba have much closer ties with the University of Havana and Cuban society than we tend to. The picture on the left is Fidel at the University of Havana, where he claims he became a revolutionary. That's where he learned what was needed to bring about the transformational change to society that he and his brother and others brought about. Next slide. After our time in Cuba and our lectures at the University of Havana, we're going to go to a more rural part of Cuba, the city of Vinales. And these are just some pictures of what we'll do there. We'll be transitioning to a more, I dare not say touristy, because we're not allowed to really be tourists in Cuba, but a more relaxed schedule for us. We'll visit tobacco farm, and we'll talk about what it takes to succeed as a farmer in a communist country where the government consumes 90% of your crop. We'll talk about cooperative in agriculture and how this works under a communist system. Or some might argue how it doesn't work under a communist system, but it'll give us a lot to think about. Next slide. The dates are March 11th to March 18th, and this is strictly coincidence that the cost is the same for this program. The budgets were calculated independently, but in Cuba, there are all kinds of restrictions in terms of how we can transfer money, how US dollars are accepted or not, and Cuban society and economy are in a state of flux. I kiddingly, well, it's not just kiddingly, but I tell students when we start with our classes, and we meet for a month, once a week before we travel, how every time I try to tell students what to expect in Cuba, when we get there, I look like an idiot because so much has changed that what I've described to them is not the situation that they actually find on the ground. Last time I was there, there were 2 currencies. Now there's only 1. There wasn't really a black market for dollars and euros and so on. Now there is. Exchange rates were fixed. Now they're still fixed, but nobody respects them. So there's a lot going on in Cuba that if you don't go all the time, you just fall behind. So we'll get to go. We'll go over spring break. In order to pay the bills to get the students hotels and meals and buses and guides and so on, we deal with a company that sets a price. I've tried to negotiate the lowest price I can, but you're still ending up at about $38.50. So I might suggest that you quickly apply for scholarships to help make the program more affordable. There are some scholarships available. Everything is included. except maybe one meal, maybe two for the week that we're there. International airfare, local ground transportation, all the events, the conference that they set up for us at the University of Havana. I do highly recommend you take about $100 in spending money, because there are certain pockets of entrepreneurship, and one of those pockets is for artists. So you'll see a lot of artistic work that you can buy from the artists themselves and help boost their standard of living by acquiring things that are not available outside of Cuba because of the embargoes and stuff that the US has with them. It's one of my favorite programs to do. It's always a learning experience. And I believe that in the long term, it's a way for Cubans to understand that the way US politicians have treated them for the last half century is not shared by all Americans, that we want to build bridges, we want to engage, we want to see what a wonderful culture they have. And it's an opportunity that you can have as a student, but once you're out of college, unless serious political changes occur, Cuba will be off limits for visits by tourists. I think that's
Marty,
it.
you did wonderful with your time. You technically have like another minute-ish, a little less than a minute. That was like almost perfect.
Well, we strive for perfection, but we always fail. So I
There
will
was
hang
a
ar-
question. There was a
Okay.
question in the chat for you. Lisa was
Sure.
asking if there were additional requirements before or after the Cuba trip in terms of classes or pre-work other than the monthly meeting.
Excellent. So how I run my programs is the first thing you have to do if you want to go on one of the programs is you have to talk to me. So nobody can just automatically register until I've sat down and told them what not to expect and what to expect, and then they can decide if they still want to go. One of the things that you can expect is 4 class meetings before we leave in preparation for the trip, whether it's Brazil or Cuba. They will happen once a week in the evening. Usually it's from 5 to 7 p.m. and we get geared up for the program that way. Once we have the group of students that are going, and usually we're in that 10 to 16 range, like other programs, we'll choose a date and time when it works for the group. And then you'll have 4 meetings beforehand and then the trip. We will have a meeting on the back end, but sometimes we do that virtually and just make sure all the assignments and test essay answers and so forth are turned in by that time after the program.
Let me go ahead. I will say the Cuba program, I have participated quite a few times with that. It really is something unique. So I'll plug that too. All right. Dr. Chen, I'm turning over the floor to you for your
Okay.
2 programs.
So can I share my screen?
Yeah, let me stop sharing mine and you can share yours.
Okay. So let me,
So I will retake the timekeeping and I'll start my time when Dr. Chen starts talking.
yeah, in
Perfect.
case you don't know, I'm no even worse than Marty in terms of managing my time when it comes to presentation. So definitely I need help from either Meredith or Marty to help me watch on my time. So how much time do I have? Like 3 minutes or?
You have 7 minutes and I'll warn you at 5 if I can get a word in edgewise, which may or may not be the case. And then you
Okay.
still have 2 more minutes after that.
Okay. For each
And
program,
you
right?
have 2
For each
programs, so
program.
7 for each. Yeah.
Okay, so awesome, thank you. Okay, so let me start sharing my screen. Can you see my screen?
I can.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so it's getting late, so I bet you must be hungry, tired. So in my presentation, I try to add a little bit spice to it. I have a food, I have a music, so stay on. You're going to enjoy it. So first, I'd like to introduce you the 3-star Michelin Spain trip. In case you don't know what Michelin means, it's a rating system people being used to rate the quality of the restaurant. And so what does it mean when you come to my Spain trip? Why do I call it a 3-star Michelin trip? Because just like a 3-star Michelin restaurant, it's worth a special journey, exceptional in quality, and has been precisely executed in many times in the past. So for the next 7 minutes, I'm going to spend about 3 minutes to give you a highlights and summary of what I mean by a 3-star Michelin Spain trip And after that, I prepare a 2-minute video with the music, Spanish music, to entertain everyone. And after the video, you should be able to know exactly what the trip is about, what are you going to learn in the trip, how much the trip will be costing you, and other related information. Okay, so here comes about the Michelin trips. So now, as you can see on my slides, I'm going to go and talk about each point with some example. And so to help you understand what I mean by the 3-star Michelin Spain trips. Again, the first, just like the Dr. Messner's trips, this is a SDG theme study abroad trips. And Spain has its own SDG challenge and opportunity. And so the entire trip has been designed around this SDG theme. So the first, meaningful and sustainable tourism. The one thing you can expect when you sign up for a Spain trip is you'll be expected to stay in an eco hotel all the time, and in the city that we are going to visit called Valencia. And Valencia itself is a sustainable city. And you are looking at the largest aquarium in the Europe, okay? And this is a city of state and arts. And so not only you'll be staying in the eco hotel, actually you'll be spending most of your time learning about how Valencia trying to achieve the carbon neutral city. Okay, and so that's the kind of environment you will be around for most of your trips. When you are in Spain, I want you to experience invigorating culture experience. So good thing is during the spring break, they are going to celebrate for 1 week for a special festival called La Fea. So basically it's a festival called the Fire. So the statue you are looking at is like 3-story high, and it's made of carbon, the boxes, okay? Everything's a recycle. So you're going to witness how Spanish is going to have a good time while trying to achieve the sustainability. Of course, when you are there, I think people is an important element of a culture. So I want you to be able to get to know as many local people as possible. Of course, there are very nice people, and also the alumni that we try to reach out to. In addition to that, I'm going to give you a lot of opportunity to visit sustainable winery, sustainable the orange farm, and also the pottery. In case you don't know, Spain is very famous for that. So we are going to learn about how those business, what they have done in order to achieve the sustainabilities. And just like other trips, you are going to have 1 free day for retreat, for kind of your self-exploratory learning experience. Every night, you are also going to be provided with some free time to explore on yourself in a very safe manner. What I mean by that is, I'm going to pair you with a local student, as you see in the pictures. So you are going to go out, explore, and I want to make sure I stay connected with all of my students. So usually they will go in team, and they'll be provided with one thing that most trip won't provide you with. It's called mobile hotspot. So you will stay connected on the internet all the time. And so your learning can become as much exploratory as possible. Of course, just like the Indian trip, we don't want you to be in the class all the time. So we are going to give you a lot of different kinds of class activity, like simulation, visiting the company, visiting all those sustainable tourism places.
All right, we're at 5.
Oh, only 5 already. Food. Spain famous for food. Okay, so we are going to arrange you to have a lot of a tour. Okay, gastronomic tour. So you are going to have called tapa tour, paella, different kind of delicious food. So you know how to eat healthy. And lastly, I have been in the destination for many times, and also my co-trip leader. And she also have a lot of extensive traveling experience. So you are going to be working with a trip leader who have lots of experience. So basically that's what I mean by the Michelin, the 3-star Spain trip. It's a worth the spatial journey, exceptional quality, and have been precisely executed. And it will take place during the spring break. And the trip cost will be $4,250, pretty much covering everything other than a few individual meal you have to be responsible for yourself. So this is the information you can go to, and then I'm going to give a link, the chat room, so you can scan the QR code and learn more about the trips. Okay, I think that's the end of my presentation. And Marty, I don't think I have time to play video.
I'm sorry, we're at 6:21.
No problem. Question about Spain trips. Should I answer first or?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, good. Okay, someone been asking about Japan trip. Okay, so I'm now going to move forward to Japan trip. In case you have a question about a Spain trip, just let me know, okay? So now I'm going to go to here. Can you see my the presentation slide?
Not yet.
Okay, so
Yes.
okay, good. So for next 7 minutes, you're going to learn about the Japan trip. And why do I call the Japan trip is the mind-blowing lifetime trip? Because this is the Japan trip is the 17th anniversary. And think about a trip that have spent 17 years in perfecting every aspect of the trip. And so here's what you will be expecting. Again, Japan is a SDG focused study abroad trip, except that Japan will have different kind of SDG challenging opportunity that you will learn when you sign up with the trips. This Japan trips, the reason it's a mind-blowing trip because they cover 7 elements. I'm going to talk about each element. So to give you a quick idea about what the Japan trip is. First, since we have done this 17 times, and I myself have visited Japan probably more than 20 times, and I speak Japanese, so I know Japan inside out. So the the bonus you're going to have when you sign up with a Japan trip is you get to tell me what you like. And as long as as long as it's logistically and financially feasible, I'm going to let you have a trip, a Japan trip tailored to your personal needs. Second, you already probably have learned that I'm very energetic. And one thing that my student been asking is, Dr. Chen, have you ever slept? Okay, that's the kind of a trip leader you'll be working with. Lots of fun activity prepared for you when you sign up for Japan trips. Lots of fun activity. As you can see from those pictures, the class activity doesn't just take place at the company setting. They also take place at some cultural setting, like those students wearing the yukata. Those yukata are those students to keep, but before they are able to keep it, they have to visit a store and then about the meaning of the color and design and the purpose of wearing it. And just like the Brazil trips, I like you to have fun while learning about the countries. And so, for instance, you will have opportunity to try the Mario go-kart and try all the different cultural activity like hot spring, tea ceremony, and so on and so forth. I want to make sure you sleep well. So you are prepared for all tons of fun activity every day. So for instance, I will put you in a hotel next to Godzilla and where you are going to really be immersed in the kind of a lodging environment in Japan. I want to make sure you have invigorating cultural experience. As you can see, students have opportunity to do a lot of cosplay and have opportunity to explore themselves. And Japan's expensive. For instance, the rapid train you are looking at on the left side, it will cost about $150 just to go from Tokyo to Osaka, kind of from Charlotte to New York City. But since when you sign up with a trip, you're going to have the called Japan, the kind of like Euro Express, Euro Pass. So you can use that ticket to go as far as you want in the Japan during our stay in Japan. So you don't never have to worry about not having enough money to take on any expensive trains. Again, this is a mind-blowing trips that we have done for 17 years. And I hope you will be one of the luckiest ones to sign up for this mind-blowing Japan trips. Okay, Meredith, do I have time to play music?
Yes, yes.
Oh, I do.
You
Okay.
got it? Okay.
Okay, so here is the music I prepare for you. You are going to learn about 5W and 1H about this Japan trip. So I'll give you a quick glimpse of what is going to happen when you join the trips. Okay, thank you very much. So for next 2-3 minutes, just enjoy the music and the videos. hopefully it works. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you turn up the volume a little? I'm not
Yes.
sure.
Yeah, I'm not getting volume either.
So just relax, enjoy.
Many, many diamonds dangling. Bag full of money, we strangling. Hate me, fry me, bake me, try me. All the above, but you can't get in. I don't want no problem. Cause me professional. You shake it, that's it, thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Is the spot. Bikes with wings and shiny things and lions, tigers, bears. Oh my ride. We fierce and fast, supersonic like JJ Fat, and we rock till the wheels are flat. Can't beat that with a baseball bat.
It's about to end. Okay, so we are not overspending too much time. But anyway, I'm going to share my PowerPoint. And so there will be a link. And so you can click and scan the QR code and learn more about Trip if you're interested in learning more about Japan. Thank you.
And Charlie, we had a couple questions in the chat.
Okay.
There was, let's see, sorry, let me get on here again. So we
Sure,
had
stop
Elena
sharing.
was asking when you would know for sure if the Japan trip was going to happen because it was still under the approval process.
Yes.
And then Lisa was asking if Spain and Japan were open to MBA students.
Let me stop sharing. Okay, so the first question is, I think it's the process, and I'm happy the program has been supported by my department chair and then by our associate dean, Dr. Massner, and our dean. So it just takes time. So hopefully in two or 3 weeks, hopefully that's realistic. So about 2 or 3 weeks, hopefully we will be able to get all the application process set up well for you to,
Okay, perfect. You may have frozen there for a second.
Yeah, I'll just jump in and say, even though no one asked, the same is true for the Brazil program and the Cuba program. We have a new system of
Hello?
approving travel internationally as well.
Now we hear you, Charlie.
Yeah. So yes, the programs are in the process of getting approval. I don't expect anything other than red tape to be an issue, and we'll get that taken care of in the next couple of weeks. So at least for the programs that have not fully gone through the process, you can't register yet, but you can plan on going, and they should be available in a matter of days.
Yeah.
And I
I
wanted to
can
mention,
provide you with enough, whatever information you need before that process is ready for you to do.
I'll mention real quickly, and then we'll come back to the other question for you, Charlie, but we did have a recent deadline for the study abroad scholarships for the College of Business. And I will extend that deadline for anyone who's here and wants to apply. I'm going to leave the application open through Friday, through the end of the day Friday. So if someone missed that study abroad scholarship deadline and or didn't know about it, you're welcome to go ahead and apply, and we'll consider you with this same group that just finished applying. And that, if you're looking for that, if you just go on the College of Business webpage and click on Global and Civic Engagement, and then go to International Programs, you'll find there's a link to scholarships there.
Meredith, may I ask a question?
Yeah,
For the summer programs, at least, will there be another scholarship cycle that they can apply and still be
yeah,
considered?
absolutely. Yeah. So if you're not ready to apply now, but you want to later on, we'll have a deadline. I think it's February 1st. I have to look. Maybe it's the 15th, but it's in the spring, we'll have another deadline. Yeah, that would be fine. And Charlie, Lisa
Yeah.
had asked if MBA students could get credit for participating in Japan and Spain.
That I do not have a certain answer yet. I'm trying to, of course, make it available to MBA students and other students as much as possible. But I'm still working the process of trying to get approval from the MBA director, and then once I get that, and I will be able to move forward with the process. But I will keep Lisa, you in the loop. If you are interested, try to send me an email, and whenever I have an update, I will keep you updated.
I'll just jump in as well and say that in the College of Business, we really think international experiences are important for our students. So part of my job is to remove obstacles. So it's a procedural issue on the MBA approval and who has to sign off. And we'll be working hard to make sure that that happens.
Okay, I just
Right.
shared my trip slide, and you can go and enjoy all the entertainment I embedded, and also scan and let me know if you have any question about this tour trip. Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm happy to add video links to your program pages on our website too, Charlie, since people didn't get to see them.
You
if
sure?
want that too. Yeah. You can
I'm
just send
dancing
them to
around.
Sure. But yeah, if you have any other questions, I know we've come close to the end of our time, so we're here for anything
Time is
else
managed
people might
very
want to
well
ask.
this time.
Yeah, we did really good. We
You
stayed
got
on track.
Good job.
Good
Yeah.
job.
Let's see. Any questions?
Perhaps all the questions got answered.
Perhaps we did it. Well, if something comes up again, please reach out to us. I suppose, well, if you go to, okay, Meredith has a question. When are the deadlines, most of the deadlines for applying for the programs? So Marty, I know you have, and probably Charlie too, you have probably a little bit earlier deadline for your spring break programs. What is
Yes.
your?
What I have put down as the deadline for, of course, you can't apply yet. So, if you can't apply, it makes it kind of awkward. I'm thinking the drop dead date will probably be January 15th. So hopefully you'll be able to register way ahead of that. And hopefully all the students we need will be registered before that. But that gives us for a March 15-ish program, just 2 months to make sure we've got all the airfares, all the passports and all the stuff in the background taken care of. So I will let everybody that expresses an interest know as soon as applications for the programs open. But we cannot probably go any beyond January 15th, if we can even go that far, to have the spring break program nailed down.
I know for Angers, Lynn and I were hoping to stop taking students at the beginning of February, but of course we'll want to hit our minimum. So it could be a little bit longer for that, but that's what we'd like to do because it helps with planning and getting everything organized. What about India?
Yeah, the India, sorry, can you hear me? Yeah, the India trip, yeah, it's already approved. In fact, we just received email from OID. It's open for students to register, but we will have to let them know. If you fill the interest form, we let them know who the students that have indicated interest are. So if you haven't filled that form, it's in the chat box. You can fill that form or just email us. I think as far as deadline, I think very similar to what Meredith said. I think ideally we would like by February 15th or so that, there's a lot that needs to be done in terms of prep work, but we will probably keep it open until the minimum is met. So if you have any questions, you can email. I'll put my email in the chat window and just let us know if you have questions.
Yeah, and if you want to get in touch with any of us, you can also find all the program leaders' emails are in the links on our international page for these programs, study abroad programs. So.
And thank you, Meredith, for organizing all this and all your work so far.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Thanks
Meredith,
for
thank you.
being here. Absolutely. My
Yes,
pleasure.
indeed. And I'm just putting my email in the chat as well.
Okay, and I'll throw mine in. Might as well. Charlie, you want to put yours in there too?
Sure. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, everyone. Appreciate you being here. And you
Indeed.
guys have a great rest of your Thursday evening.
Yeah. Next time,
Right.
if you are tired, just let me dance for you.
There we go. Yes, we'll do it in person so we can see you dancing.
All right.
All right.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Good
Thanks,
meeting
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
bye.
Bye-bye.